If you've ever wondered whether you were an Earth angel,
You've probably ended up watching a faceless video with a disembodied voice listing some vague characteristics that sound like they could apply to anyone who's psychically attuned and vaguely introverted.
what? Hey.
This is my 5 oddly specific and unusual characteristics and signs that you might be an earthbound celestial. Strange or unusual interests or pursuits at a very early age. While most people were busy playing with Barbie or G.I. Joe, you distinctly remember having some interests that were adult, intellectual, or disciplined when you were a child.
She about to start some shit, Zed. She's about 8 years old. Those books are way too advanced for her.
Now, what those interests were will vary depending on what your earthly calling might be. It might have been attempting higher level educational experiments, studying medical journals, reading Business Week. For me, I was sitting in my room when I was 9 years old teaching myself Latin out of a book I got at a garage sale. Earth angels are not just old souls. They are instinctively connected to the broader knowing of all that is. This leads to the intrinsic knowing that there is far more going on, as well as a thirst or drive to uncover a deeper knowledge and the capacity to understand advanced concepts. Odd encounters or synchronicities with strangers, especially other psychics or intuitives. Can you recall a bunch of times over your life when people you didn't know approached you and had something cryptic or esoteric to say? Maybe they just blurted out that you were different or that you were an angel. If you've had a bunch of encounters in your life where strangers seem to approach you, be drawn to you, and seem to recognize that there's something odd or different about you, and may have even strange or cryptic messages to say, it may be a sign that you're a celestial embodiment. Those gifted and talented individuals in this world who are psychically attuned and connected may feel drawn to your energy or even be guided to give you certain messages at certain times in your life. Difficulty fitting in with an already established spiritual community or tradition. This may sound like an odd one, but hear me out. Have you spent a significant portion of your life attempting to understand the things that you feel and intrinsically know, only to find that most other people don't quite feel right, and that most already established traditions don't seem to correlate to your perspective? Maybe you've joined discussion groups or organizations only to feel pretty swiftly like the leader of the group is dismissive of what you have to say or trying to control your narrative. This doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you, or even necessarily that there's anything wrong with the group. Unless it does. I accidentally joined a yoga cult once, and yeah. In most cases, there's not that there's anything wrong with you or the group. It's just an indication that you may be a speaker of the record yourself. An earth angel will have their own unique and organic understanding of the universe. What that looks like and sounds like may be different for each person depending on what their earthly calling is. But it's common for the powerful expression of that knowing to feel uncomfortable or threatening to already established groups or traditions. Fear not, it does not mean that you're doomed to a life of isolation, but rather you're being guided to speak your truth authentically and let others be drawn to you. This guidance helps keep your own intuitions and translations protected from indoctrination into other teachings so that your perspective remains unclouded and can sound authentically you. Your downloads tend to come in total concept format and tend to be broad in scope. If your claircognizance often sounds a lot more like advanced quantum physics than it does personal guidance, you're likely a celestial embodiment. It could be a whole block of information about the energetic construction of the human body, or advanced knowledge about the construction of physical realities and their purposes. Maybe a complete knowing of psychic assaults and how they shape world events. Rather than personal guidance or inner work, you often get information that is meant to be shared with humanity on a broader scale and is useful for you in completing this work. This doesn't mean that you never receive personal guidance or growth information, just that a good portion of what you receive seems to have broader implications that would be necessary or useful to humanity at large. An inability to refuse the call. You may be a person that has tried a bunch of different things in life, and you may have even found that you were good at them. But for whatever reason, life has a way of returning you to the path of your calling. The regular salary life, no matter how abundant or fulfilling the job might be, still doesn't quite seem to click, and the spiritual or esoteric path always ends up back in your sights. You may have even attempted to ignore or brush aside your gifts, thinking that they were weird or impractical, but life has a way of making sure you never really forget who you are. All souls that come here have a growth plan or an idea of what they hope to gain from this life experience. That could be accomplished in a lot of different ways. Part of the fun of being here is creating the different pathways for that growth and that experience to come to fruition. For Earth Angels, that goal is a little bit more refined and more specific. It will be different things for each of you, but if your life seems to consistently pull you in a niche spiritual direction, then you may be a celestial embodiment. If any of this sounds like you and you've ever felt isolated or maybe suffered from imposter syndrome because it feels like your specific kind of spirituality just doesn't fit in with any current traditions or groups, just know that you're not alone. Being different can feel like a curse in a society that's obsessed with what's normal. But just remember that nobody who was normal ever contributed anything significant and game-changing. You were specifically designed and picked to play the role of you in this life. There is no one more qualified to share what you know, no one better suited to shine your light on this world, and no one but you who can answer your calling. Those are my top 5 unusual signs that you might be an Earth Angel. If you did find that some of this resonated for you, I'm going to be producing a series of videos intended to assist celestial embodiments with their earthly work. The first one is going to be about how to integrate and wield the most powerful tool we have in our arsenal, unconditional love. Sounds easy, but in practice here on Earth sometimes it can be a challenge. So if that sounds like it would be helpful to you, I will link it in the description when it's done, but you can always hit subscribe in the meantime to make sure that you don't miss it when it drops. And if you are still here, just know that I appreciate you so much. I'm a small channel and I'm just starting to speak the things I know out loud for everybody, so we're definitely on this journey together, and just like you, I appreciate knowing that I'm not alone. So hit me up in the comments, it really means a lot to me, and thank you so much for being here. We'll see you later.